Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the budget other than I'm glad to be getting it before the end of the fiscal year. I think that's a real tribute, frankly, to the collaborative spirit that the House and Senate brought to the process. I also think it's a statement about the fact that they know they have a lot of other work that they would like to get done between now and the end of the session at the end of July. We haven't had a chance to really review it yet. I don't have much to say about it beyond that. But we'll obviously know more about it by the end of the weekend.
Opinions about the bottom line? Is it too low, too high?
I don't know. No, we haven't spent enough time with it yet to figure that part out. I do think, based on a very cursory review, that that they recognized and appreciated the fact that we were going to have a revenue issue in 17 and worked pretty diligently to deal with that. But the most important thing from my point of view is for them to get through that process in such a short period of time, given the number of sort of contextual changes that took place, is a real tribute to them.
How long are you going to do you anticipate taking to review it?
Say again?
Do you anticipate taking the full 10 days to review it?
I don't know. Let's see how the weekend goes. I mean, that'll tell us a lot about it. My preference would be to do it in less, but we may need all 10. I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts on the way they went about filling the 750 gap? Taking 200 that will not get deposited into the stabilization fund, the 260 of direct spending cuts. Did they take the right approach?
I don't want to speak to that till I have a chance to look at the totality of it. I think the fact that we had begun this process with a desire to make a big deposit to the stabilization fund was the right way to start the process, and I think that actually created some discipline that made this exercise less complicated and difficult than it might have been otherwise. But I want to take a look at the whole thing before I draw a conclusion. I will say this, the year over year for the past 2 years, the revenue growth's pretty small given the success of our economy, and it does speak to the fact that Massachusetts was over-reliant on capital gains tax revenue, which moves around a lot, and I'm glad that working with the legislature we've been able to wean the Commonwealth's reliance on that, at least for its recurring spending activities, down by a pretty significant amount over the past 18 months.
Governor, I did want to ask you about the commission real quickly, but I wanted to ask you about early this morning in Raynham, another construction accident with a drunk driver involved. Any thoughts about things that should be done to make construction zones safer for construction workers, whether it's a drunk driver or just someone not obeying ordinary laws?
Well, there's a conversation that's currently going on between the folks at DOT and the construction industry about construction site setup and management generally, and obviously everybody's goal is to make sure that those sites are safe. Thankfully in the Brockton case, there was a sheriff's deputy, I believe, on duty, and the drunk driver hit the sheriff's van. One of the things I would say is, we spend a lot of time talking about not texting and driving. Maybe we forgot to tell people that driving while impaired is not a good idea either. But I'll look forward to what the DOT and the construction industry comes back with suggestions with regard to this. I will say this, unless something's an emergency, there's not going to be any work going on over the weekend for a lot of reasons. It's hard to staff some of the detail stuff where you do want details. In addition to that, I think we do want to take a look at this and just see what we can do to make sure that people who are working on roads are safe.
And real quickly, just on the job of this commission and what you're looking forward to hearing back from them.
Well, I do think that the focus on pain management that we are bringing to this, and I would argue it's collaborative with the healthcare community and the prescriber community generally, is a really good thing. And my hope is that we'll have a much better informed prescriber community. I do believe people are working on alternatives to pain management that involve things other than narcotic solutions. And I think this is important. And my hope is that they have an October date to deliver a number of reports. I really want them in October, and if they can get them done sooner than that, that would be great too. This is, as I've said before, this is pretty close to an all-hands-on-deck issue. If you think about the number, well, this is a 3-day weekend, right? 10 people, maybe more, are probably going to die of an opioid overdose over the weekend, just because that's how many people die every day in Massachusetts. It's a crisis, and the more we can do to create a smarter and better and more sophisticated prescriber community and a smarter and better and more informed patient community and general population, the better off we're going to be in dealing with this and bending the trend.
If I can just ask one more question on the budget. Outside sections, a lot of them were left out of the final budget.
So you guys have actually spent more time looking at this thing than I have so far.
What's your general opinion about outside sections?
I think outside sections should be directly related to the budget, and I said that after the Senate finished their deliberations because I was concerned that there were a lot of things that came through in the Senate budget that really didn't have anything to do with the budget at all. I think the outside sections ought to be directly related to spending.
So do you plan on vetoing those outside sections that are not related to spending?
It's a pretty high bar they got to climb over. I mean, if something has to be done to meet a federal mandate or a federal standard or a state standard or something like that, I could see those making exceptions for those. But as a general rule, I mean, we filed, I think we had, 80 outside sections in our budget? They were all related to what I would describe as the money, and that's really what they should be for the most part.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Governor.
Hope you guys have a nice weekend.